Hi, everyone. So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful guide for anyone who's looking to find a deeper sense of direction in their life. We're exploring the ideas from Carlo Cuaya Reyes's book, Finding Your North Star, which is all about discovering your true calling from a really personal, faith-based perspective. So let's just jump right in with a question that I think probably hits home for a lot of us. Do you ever just feel kind of adrift? Like you're floating along, but you don't really have a clear destination in mind.
And if you feel that way, you are definitely not alone. The book we're looking at points out that in today's world, with all the noise and constant change, it is so easy to feel unsure. And that feeling, that sense of being lost, well, that's the big problem we're going to tackle today.
So, what's the answer when you feel adrift? Well, the book gives us this amazing metaphor, one that sailors have used for centuries: the idea of finding your own personal North Star. So, what is this North Star, really? It's more than just a goal. The book describes it as a fixed, divine calling. You can think of it like your own internal compass. It's that steady, unchanging point that you can always look to, helping you navigate all the crazy, unpredictable parts of life. And the whole idea is really rooted in a faith-based perspective, using this verse from Proverbs as its foundation. The key word here is trust. The idea is that finding your direction isn't about figuring it all out on your own, but about looking beyond your own limited view and aligning with something bigger.
Okay, so the concept makes sense, but how in the world do you actually find this North Star for yourself? Let's get into the next section, because this is where we get into the practical side of this journey. And here's the thing, the book makes it super clear this isn't some external quest where you're looking for something out there. Nope, it's an inside job. Your purpose is completely tied to who you are. To find your calling, you have to start by understanding yourself at the deepest level. And I love how the process is laid out here. It's broken down into 4 really clear, actionable steps. First, you look at what you love, your passions. Then, you look at what you're good at, your abilities. But it's not all internal. You also need to get an outside perspective by seeking feedback, and finally, connect spiritually for prayer.
All right, but let's be real. Any journey worth taking is going to have some bumps in the road, right? The path to purpose is no different. It will have storms, and the 2 biggest ones are doubt and fear. Let's talk about how to get through them.
First off, it is so important to just normalize these feelings. The book is really clear about this. Feeling doubt and fear when you're stepping into something new is completely natural. It doesn't mean you're on the wrong track. The real key is just not letting those feelings stop you in your tracks. This story of Gideon from the Bible is just a perfect example of that battle that goes on inside our heads. On one side, you have Gideon's view of himself, which is just full of self-doubt, right? I'm the weakest, the least. But then you have God's perspective, which isn't focused on Gideon's weakness at all. It's just a simple promise: I will be with you.
And what about fear? Well, there's another great story for that. It's kind of like Peter walking on water. He was doing the impossible as long as he kept his eyes on his guide. But the second he looked away and focused on the wind and the waves, the storm, that's when fear took over and he started to sink. So it all comes down to where you put your focus. Okay, so we've talked about finding our direction and facing our fears. But discovering your purpose, that's not the end of the story. Let's move into our final section and see how all of this actually plays out in our day-to-day lives. Okay, this next point is absolutely crucial. A purpose isn't just some big, lofty idea you think about. It's something you do. The book basically argues that purpose without action is just a daydream. It's all about the small, consistent, daily steps that make your calling a reality. And where does all that action lead? Well, the book points us toward service. It uses this quote to show that true purpose is ultimately directed outward. It's about making that big shift in your mindset from what can I get to what can I give? So how do we actually do this? Well, the book lays out these fantastic practical steps. You make a plan with small, doable goals, but you don't go it alone. You find people to keep you accountable. You always keep your main motivation, your why, front and center. And you remember to celebrate the wins, no matter how small. And that really brings us to the end, with a final question that's all for you. After thinking about all this, it all boils down to action. So what is one small thing, one manageable step that you can take today to move just a little bit closer to your own North Star?